Even from a young age, everyone has enjoyed a good story. From pirates looking for treasure, falling down rabbit holes, or even running away from home to join an unusual but beautiful circus. They were our escapes from the world, and we remain protective and in love with them even to this day. No matter if they're the same story for everyone, the world they paint is always different for every one of us, always changing, always taking us into the lives of these heroes. With books slowly turning into films, we all have mixed feelings on each one. This video is my top 10 book to film adaptations. Now, for this video I'm doing books or comics which I have read. So I can't review something that I haven't read, and I'm pretty sure there are some people that just go watch the film. Also, I'm not going by box office, I'm just doing how close they are to the source. And number 10, Death Note. Based on the manga series, which of course is going to put a lot of people off because it's a backwards comic book. It's about a young student, like Yagami. He finds this unusual notebook, and the rule of the notebook is, if you write someone's name in it, they will die of a heart attack in 60 seconds. So he uses this to wipe the world of criminals. As the criminal rate falls down, the police get suspicious, and the world's greatest detective, L, gets involved. It is now a Sherlock Holmes Moriarty battle to find out the identity of each one, and the first one's identity is revealed, they die. It's a very gritty film series, and why it's so high on my list? Oh, they changed the ending completely. They have new story arcs, character involvement, hell, they missed a year out on these characters' lives. And I can understand why, maybe it's budget, maybe it's something, but my god, it's intense as hell. Also, it's kind of a nice interest into the culture as well, because we see both ends of Kira, the killer, and L, and see why we can root for each character. At number 9, Interview with the Vampire. Again, it's one of those films that's quite interesting, and again, for an adult audience. Before Interview with the Vampire in the film industry, all the vampires are seen as these horrible things, horrible creatures that no one should be involved with, Dracula, Carmilla, etc. Interview with the Vampire takes you into the culture. With the body count of 36, we follow the story of Brad Pitt's character, Louis, as he's been turned into a vampire by Lestat, played by Tom Cruise. It follows him over the years as he and Lestat become close and not close, and it's just basically them surviving as much as they can. And of course, it's kind of weird to actually think, to look back at this and actually realise Anne Rice actually had quite a bit of involvement in this. There's even some articles talking about how she didn't like Tom Cruise being picked for the role at the start until she saw him do a scene. This is my number 9 pick. And number 8, A Game of Shadows. A loose adaptation of Sherlock Holmes series. Game of Shadows is about the now 37-year-old Sherlock Holmes trying to get ready for the wedding of his comrade, John Watson, as well as taking us out of London for a change and into the lovely outskirts of France. We follow the cat and mouse rivalry between Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. Well portrayed, well acted, and what else can I say? Of course, with some of the added features, including Downey Jr.'s ideas which were put forward, such as he wanted to go into drag. He originally was going to be a priest. And again, it's alright, again, it's loose. That's all we can say. It's a big action-packed film, Sherlock Holmes, what else can I say? And number 7, The Wizard of Oz. Of course, this is a classic in its own right. The Wizard of Oz follows the adventures of Dorothy, played by the legendary Judy Garland, as she enters the wonderful world of Oz after a house is sucked up into a tornado. This film is of course a legend in its own right, but again, it's still quite high because of the inaccuracy of the book, aka Rupert Slippers. This film has got a lot of information if you want to check it out. I mean, the other day I found out that within If I Only Had a Heart, this line,
"Wherefore art thou, Romeo?"
was performed by the voice actor of Snow White from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yeah, weird, isn't it? This film is of course a legend in its own right. I can keep saying this over and over again. It's just an unbelievable film. Probably one of the first ones I recommend you show for your kids. At number 6, The Princess Bride. Based on the abridged adaptation of the book, as the original went into way too much detail on everything. The story is kind of a story within a story. The story is about an old man telling his son the story which we all know, which we all follow. About a hero that goes off to go make himself worthy enough for the woman he loves by becoming a pirate and a hero in his own right. But unfortunately, he returns to find that she's engaged and has currently been kidnapped. So he's off to go rescue her, and of course, we all know the rest of the film. If you haven't seen it, you're going to need to. It's one of the funniest things you'll probably find in a lifetime, as the jokes are legendary, including, "Hello, my name is Anil Montoya. You killed my father, prepared to die" is a meme now. And the poor and Mandy Pattinson has now been quoted that at least 2 or 3 times every day in his life. The humour itself is also well known, as apparently the director, Rob Reiner, has to leave set during Billy Crystal scene because he was laughing way too hard. Again, the film is so legendary in its own right that recently they had an anniversary photo, which kind of upset me a bit since unfortunately Andre the Giant passed away a while back, and they only had to put an image to put in his replacement. At number 5, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The third film in the Harry Potter series and the last one on VHS. This follows Harry in his 3rd year at Hogwarts. With his friends, Ron and Hermione, they find out a criminal has escaped Azkaban, which is rumoured to be involved with the deaths of his parents. And also, as well as including a new teacher, Professor Lupin. Being the last film on VHS, and also the first for Michael Gambit to play the role as Dumbledore, it does kind of bring up a lot of questions. This one is actually the closest to the Harry Potter series, as you kind of see more character involvement and more personality throughout the characters. It goes at a nice pace, a decent pace, ideal for the Harry Potter universe, and of course letting us see more of the creatures that J.K. Rowling has created. This is probably the best one in the series, as it is the personal fan favourite. Harry Potter Azkaban, recommend seeing it. At number 4, Hellboy. Directed by Guillermo del Toro, probably one of the creative people in the film industry to this day. Hellboy is probably one of the most loyal comic to film adaptations, as the only difference from the comic and the film is Nazis, and he isn't dating anybody, as he's trying to avoid human contact because of his physical being, as he is a creature from hell. The film has got perfect casting and perfect scripting, just downright hysterical. Thanks to Guillermo del Toro's closest to the comics and also his occasional voice acting. This is rated age 15, but I watched this at 12. I found it quite alright. It is gritty, action-packed, and damn well enjoyable. That's Hellboy. At number 3, The Hobbit. Based on the book with the same name, the film focuses on Bilbo, a small hobbit played by the ever-so-cheerful Martin Freeman, who is taken on a quest by the wizard Gandalf and a group of dwarves to take back their home from the dragon. I know most of you will be thinking, why did I pick Lord of the Rings? Well, it's simple really. It's just a matter of taste. I didn't like the Lord of the Rings book back when I first read it, and now. Well, I did enjoy The Hobbit. Since The Hobbit is a more child-friendly prequel, it doesn't get too dark. Sure, it's frightening at times, but it returns to the beautiful visuals and interesting or comical character development. Anything that I learned while watching The Hobbit is that it's more focused on the cultures. I know they did in Lord of the Rings, but to me, it feels like we saw more of the human culture in Middle-earth and the Hobbit in the first films. While in The Hobbit, they focus on the elves and dwarves as much as an understanding for their hatred for each other. Maybe that's why I like this Peter Jackson adaptation over his other version of Lord of the Rings. And number 2, Dredd. Another comic book adaptation. This one was directed by Peter Tariff and starring Carl Urban, who demanded to keep it as close to the source as he could, that he kept his helmet on and chose to ride the motorbike himself. It is violent and kick-ass to the point of every detail. While the storyline isn't in the comics, it gives us a grand idea what we can expect from the comics. The plot of this action thriller follows Judge Dredd and his rookie going into Peachtree's apartment buildings to capture the supplier of the drug Slow-Mo, known as Mama. It has some of the best fight scenes I've ever seen so far, and it should be a must. Just not with your parents in the room. It can get a bit violent at times. Finally, at number 1, The Book Thief. Probably the newest film on the list. The story follows a young girl named Liesel as she moves into a new family played by Geoffrey Rush and Emily Watson during Adolf Hitler's rise to power and, of course, World War II. The story is narrated by Def, who personally I think is the only thing the movie got wrong. Just because in the book he was a lot more wittier and more enjoyable as a character. But they added this mystery to him that keeps you interested. We never see him, and they add an atmosphere which makes us feel like that he is there. Also, like in the book, it is filled to the brim with emotions. If she's having a moment of joy or heartache, you'd be feeling the exact same way. The casting is unbelievably good, as I'm surprised that the voiceovers didn't pick up on it. Most of the cast are unknown actors beside Rush and Watson. At one point, Robert Sheeran auditioned for the part,
She's stealing your pension! Oh! No, he's fine.
Yeah, that guy. I'm not going to spoil anything about this film apart from you should read the book before watching it, as you'll react the same way to both. And that's what a good book to film adaptation should do. Thank you for watching, I hope to hear from you soon.